Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1970s.
I find you very attractive, but this stroll is becoming rather boring.
This is episode 225, recorded September 25th, 2024.
Gruesome Magazine.
Hello. I am your host, Doc Rotten, and this podcast is about horror films released between 1970 and 1979. Each episode, my co-host and I will tackle another classic, or not so classic, film from this wondrous, groovy, gory, and influential decade. With me tonight are my co-hosts, starting off with the one and only Jeff Mohr. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Wunderbar. Sure.
Excellent. Jawohl, mein Kommandant.
We'll run with it. Also joining this week is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, special effects guru, and all-around nice guy, beatnik, and published author.
Better than being a Sputnik, right, Bill?
As he struggles to find his book. What is your book's name called?
Its name is called Raum, R-A-U-M.
And where do you find Raum?
Well, you can find this on Amazon.com. You can find a lot of stuff on Amazon.com. It's crazy. It's like you go in there and you're trying to find my book, and it says, people who bought this book also got
a house.
And brass knuckles and canned ham and like a whole lot of random stuff. And like, wow.
And
I can buy
Pickled
brass
lizard
knuckles
balls.
and and ham at the same time. These are days of miracle and wonder.
And overnight.
And a good book.
And a good book. Yes. Also joining us this week. Oh, this episode even is Chad Hunt. He's a comic book writer and artist. And he's also, I just made you a writer. I don't know if you were, but you are now co-host of Decades of Horror, the classic era, the 80s, and well, of course, the 70s. And you're also involved with film as a producer, writer, and director, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes you grace the silver screen with your presence.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Yep. Sometimes when they forget that you're there, and
when they're scraping the bottom of the bed.
The real actor didn't show up.
Well, get Chad.
Here's a wig, Chad. Act feminine.
I know that one time I was with Chad on a set. He made it, and they cut me out. That's the way it goes. All right, with that,
it's a tough business.
It is.
I've been trying to figure out how to do that for a long time. I just
cut me out. Oh my gosh. All right. We are here to have a good time with a film called Vampyres from 1974. A little spicy action going on here. We'll get to that and all the fun that comes along with it. But before we do, I believe Jeff Mohr has a little bit to say about Play Now Media.
Yes, Decades of Horror partners with Play Now Media, and you can find our stuff on their streaming channels. In particular, Wicked Horror TV has Decades of Horror of the 1970s, but also 80s, and also classic era. And they're on a lot of other channels too. There's another one called Retro Horror, 70s, 80s, and 90s. That's on, you get a Fire TV and Roku. These other ones are on like every app you can get, Apple TV, websites, etc. So check them out. You can watch movies for free. You don't even have to subscribe, and then you'll get ads, and then you can subscribe and pay a fee, and you can see everything without ads and some premium content. So check them out. There's a lot of good. They got a lot of good movies.
Boobies? Did you say boobies? Speaking of boobies,
boobies.
We are going to watch Vampyres.
Probably that too.
Vampyres, 1974, which was on some of the Play Now Media channels, right? Wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
It was. It was on Wicked Horror TV and Classic Horror TV, Classic Horror Movie Channel, and Tubi, I think, was the other.
It's not hard to find.
No. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the film. We're going to share when we first saw this, what our first impression was, and does it hold up today? And then we're going to get into a discussion about the film. We're going to talk about the director, the writer, the time it was made. They look at, hey, somebody did a good job there. And we'll have a lot of fun with that. And then we'll wrap things up with some feedback. We do have feedback, right, Jeff?
We do.
All right.
Yahoo! Yeah,
So let's move into things, and we'll start off with the card. The boing. All right, Vampyres, 1974.
Oh boy, that is an awkward angle. I wasn't sure what she had her hand on there for a second, but I'm guessing that's his shoulder. It's still a weird angle. I don't know.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It looks like the thing from Basket Case in this picture.
No,
And see that gash in the crook of his elbow too.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Mm.
We'll get to that.
My gosh, I was thinking Society, but I like yours better, Chad, because it's not as offensive. But here we go. Vampyres, 1974, directed by José Ramón Larraz, as Joseph Larraz. Writing credits. Diana Daubeney,
Sure.
José Ramón Larraz, and Thomas Owen. There's a story about Diana being in here. We'll get to that. The cast includes Marianne Morris, Anulka, why do you do this to me, Dziubinska?
Because I copied that in there.
Murray Brown, Brian Deacon, Sally Faulkner. The production companies SE Films and Lurco Films. Filming location is England. The filming dates started on March 11, 1974 and filmed for 3 weeks. It was released on July 6, 1974 in the UK, limited, and January 1975 in the US. The budget was £42,000, which I guess is approximately $100,000, isn't so?
Yep.
At that time. The synopsis is: a pair of women lure passersby to their countryside mansion to feed on them to satisfy their need for blood.
And that would be the pair of women, and that would be a passerby.
Yeah, yes.
I think.
Yeah, for those who are listening, the picture is of what he described. 2 women and a guy on a bed, and it looks very awkward. Anyway, moving on. Let's find out what we thought of this film. Who picked this? This
That
feels
was
like
me.
It's a Bill.
It's a
Bill.
Bill.
When did you first see Vampyres? What did you think of it then? Does it hold up today?
I saw it many years ago. I'm thinking now 40 years ago or so. Rented it at a Blockbuster Video.
Wow.
Yeah. I'd heard of it, and I liked the cover, and checked it out. And I thought then, as now, it's slow moving. It's a Euro film. It's got some good imagery. It's well photographed. It's got the lesbian stuff in it, lesbian vampire stuff. Maybe plays that up a bit more than most, certainly more than Hammer did. But it's also got some unexpected bursts of violence, and so it's one of those films where the somewhat languid pacing is nicely cut up, literally, by some extreme blood. It's not so much gory, but it feels gory. Because, man, the one thing I gotta say about this film is the victims really look like they're in pain. None of this nonsense of a vampire bites you on the neck and you swoon and it tickles. No, it wouldn't tickle at all, and it doesn't tickle with these ladies. All that said, it's a confusing movie. I guess now that I watched it with a little bit more care about what was going on, I don't understand. Are they vampires? Except for drinking blood and possibly being supposedly dead, but walking around. They're out in the sun. They don't have fangs. There's some weird elements that I don't quite understand, like why the protagonist, the one of the lead guys, is being recognized as having been there before, but he says he wasn't. Why were they? Was he the one who shot them in the first place? There's little hints and pieces in here that what we're seeing is like in the mind of this guy. But I don't know. There's no resolution. It has one of the most, pooped out endings ever. That just the movie sort of ends like, I think we're out of money, guys. All right, pack up. That's a wrap. So this is an odd little movie, and yet I enjoyed it. It still has the flaws I remember, and has the good parts that I remember. It's not the best of its kind, but in the lesbian vampire subgenre, which is not one of my favorites, it has a good place there. It's kind of memorable. I looked up other people's reviews, and it's split right down the middle. There are people who are like, this is a slog to get through, and there's others who are like, this is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. So it's a hard one to recommend or not recommend, because you might be in either category.
That's interesting. I've not thought of it in that way. That's awesome. Chad, sir. When
Yes.
did you first see this?
I just saw this yesterday, last night, and then finished today. This movie is a slog to get through. So much so I felt like pouring salt on it because I thought it was a snail.
Whoa!
And
Golf clap.
but no, it was slow at first. It didn't pick up really till about the last third of the movie, the third act. But Bill was right. There's these scenes that just go on and on and on and on, and then you get to these attacks, and they're savage and brutal. And there's nary a fang in sight. You don't see any fangs. And just this guy, must be a reason why they kept him alive and they killed everybody else and kept him alive for so long. Well, maybe it ties into that whole thing Bill was talking about as well. But because this old couple that was looking to buy the house at the end were they repeated a legend that was involved in this house of a guy that shot these two women. Now their ghosts haunt the property. So you don't know that. There's these two people that are camping just outside the castle that they get built up for this whole movie and then just expire and in the most excruciating, painful looking ways. And but you thought they were the heroes of the movie almost in a way,
like Van Helsing's.
Yeah, but they were not. They were not. So I felt bad when they bought it at the end. But the wait to the end, I think, is worth it. The build up to it, because it was gruesome. It was nasty, and you didn't know what was going on. Actually, I mean, I didn't know if they were vampires or ghosts or the undead zombies who needed blood. You don't really know. Even though the film's called Vampire.
I was going to say, doesn't the title tell us?
If it did, they kind of twisted the vampire lore to meet their own needs in this movie. But I overall I liked it. I kind of liked it. The nudity helped a little bit get through the slow parts, of course. And I'll end by saying this. I'm glad I didn't learn to have sex by watching this guy. That's all I got to say about that.
Oh my God, that's so hilarious.
That's a horror film in itself.
There you go. All right, Jeff Mohr, when did you first see Vampires, and what did you think? Does it all look good?
Yeah, I saw this maybe like 6 months or so ago, or no, what month is it? Like 5 months or so ago when we did Daughters of Darkness, and Gregory Crosby mentioned it, and I thought, I haven't seen that. I should see that. So I watched it then. I kind of like it. I didn't have a problem with what was going on. They seemed to be obviously vampires to me, although they don't fit any of the tropes. And they do. There's a couple scenes where they show them walking around when it's fairly light out, but they also have a couple scenes where they say it's day, we have to hurry, so they're running to get out of the daylight. So I think maybe the where it looked like it was day, they might have just been bad day for night scenes or something, or into the dawn. I don't know.
Day for night part of it.
But I like the whole, and I just thought somebody killed them for having a lesbian sex affair, and that they had somehow survived as vampires or ghosts / vampires or whatever they are. I was a little bit let down by the ending. I was hoping to have like a big splash vampire death or something as the sun rose up and the people in the caravan somehow or another delayed them or whatever, but none of that happened. They just pranced off into the woods.
They win. They win.
But the whole idea of biting him in the arm and sucking on the arm and keeping that open, and I thought the reason that they kept that one guy alive was because the dark-haired woman started to care for him. And the blonde kept telling her, be careful, you're making a mistake. You can't do this. You're keeping him for too long. We need to get rid of him. But she kept sticking with it. So for some reason, whatever that was, and maybe there was some connection to whoever shot them. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought the photography was great. I loved the scene. All these foggy, hazy, fuzzy, focused things. I thought looked great. Lots of blood. Lots of blood, nudity.
That there was. So I knew about this movie, and I've never really ventured forth to go see it. So got to watch it for this podcast. Watched it this week, and the quote that Chad brought us, I think, perfectly suits my reaction to this film. It's very attractive, but the stroll is very boring. To paraphrase it just slightly. I thought this was so boring. It was so boring. Did I say it was boring? Because I thought it was boring. Go
on, say it.
What Chad was saying about the sex scenes, they are so unrealistic sex scenes. And so urgent. I mean, oh my God, they're like animals. There's no, it's not what you usually see in film with romance and anything. That's just like writhing anywhere you want. Writhing. Oh my God, I didn't know whether to laugh or I don't know. I didn't know what to do. It was weird. I don't know if I like this movie. I mean, it has things going for it. It is shot well. And it when it does get to the gore parts, it doesn't shy back on the blood. I mean, you don't really see any like. I mean, you kind of see an open wound, but not really. You just see blood everywhere, and they suddenly have blood all over them on their face and everything. And but yeah, it was. I'd rather have a Hammer film than this, to be honest. And I mean, when I think of Eurotrash, I think this film might be the film that I define it with. This is kind of feels Eurotrashy. And I will speak to what you're talking about with the guy at the beginning when he goes into that hotel, and the guy says, "Haven't I seen you before?" And that is a nod to Daughters of Darkness. That's the only reason it's there. Right. It has nothing to do with the story. It's just a nod to a very similar film.
So clearly we're dealing with a filmmaker who's willing to put a really, really obscure in-joke there to confuse the audience just to amuse himself.
Yes.
All right. Yes. I respect that.
Yes. But you're right. At the end, it does leave you kind of wondering, were they straight up vampires? There's a little more to them. Are they ghosts? What was the murder at the beginning? It was them, right? And they got murdered, but
what brought them back?
What turned them into vampires?
Were they vampires before they got murdered or after they got murdered or whatever? Or were they ghosts and the ghosts had, I don't know. At the end, it doesn't matter. But I kind of like the downbeat 70s ending to it, because that was a big thing in the 70s. It was not, the good guys win. It was usually quite the opposite. And true. This is very much in that vein. And but it does result in a very unrewarding finale. It kind of, no pun intended, peters out. Don't like it. Don't hate it.
Hey, that's fair.
I don't like it. I don't like this movie.
All right, no sir, I don't like it.
I liked it.
I'm still not unconvinced that this whole thing is not a dream, which would explain the kind of slow pace and lack of logic in the mind of that guy. Because everything that if you think of it, oh, okay, he's got this injury on his arm, but that's like something you would do if you were trying to commit suicide. He might have been the one killing those people if anyone died. It's just weird. Throw me a freaking bone here. I mean, so where'd they go at the end? Did they ran off into the woods? Did they go find another castle, or are they stuck?
No,
Are they haunted?
I thought they went back to the same one. Huh?
I was going to say, I thought they went back to the house or into a tomb or something to get to back. No, I didn't take it that they left the property for good.
What I'm convinced of is that it's a poorly constructed vampire movie disguised as a Skinemax film, wrapped around it in a nice little ball.
There you go.
Well, I liked it, and the reason I liked it isn't the nudity. I liked it because it had something different about the vampires.
Methinks thou protest too much.
It wasn't like I come in with the fangs. I sort of hypnotize you into letting me embrace you and bite your neck, and that's the end of that. The sex was weird, but I kind of thought of that as being sort of a feral.
Yeah, I was going to say, just
reaction,
like their feeding is ferocious and animalistic, so is the sex, in a cheap Deer Penthouse kind of way. I'm like Jeff. I wasn't really attracted by the nudity. I was attracted by the fact that there was something different about these vampires, which is that they were often nude.
Well, so was the male cast. I like it when the one guy he's standing by the window and he falls back, but he grabs the curtain and pulls it free so it could cover all his manly bits.
And I do want to give credit to the Europeans for something. Like if they made an American version of this, all the male actors would be good looking with their clothes off, and that was obviously not a concern here, because I'm looking at this guy. It's like, I am counting all the moles on his shoulders, and it's like he has spent way too much time in the sun without the benefit of sunscreen. It ain't pretty.
Well,
it's not pretty at all.
But I mean, when you're just picking up. Now, what I did wonder is how many people can disappear on this road before somebody looks into it.
From watching Giallo films, the one thing that's pretty clear is that European cops are absolutely useless.
But then does it take place in Europe, or does it take place in England?
Oh, well,
I assume it's in England, but
isn't that Europe?
Yes.
Okay, then.
Master of geography, Doc Rotten.
I mean, technically yes, but I think of Europe as more of never mind.
Which is why
technically yes.
Doc, if you want to go to your writer trivia there, Miss Daubeney, or what was her name?
That's
again?
Close enough, man. Go with it.
Mr. Daubeney. Miss Daubeney was José Ramón Larraz's wife, and she was a British citizen. So by having her as the writer, they qualified for some quota thing with the British government. So she did not apparently write a single word of the script.
No, she got credit.
She got half.
No.
That's right.
Well, we just did one. What was the movie we did that was in Canada? Was that an 80s movie? And the person that they labeled as a writer was only because for the Canadian funding.
Yeah. Was that Prom Night?
That sounds right.
You got to do what you got to do. The house, though, if the castle that they live in, you might recognize from a number of Hammer films and other European films, and a very special film in the decade of the 1970s, the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
There you go.
Yay! Now if you want to watch a trashy film that will actually entertain you,
now I wonder if that home is like an Airbnb, because I can't. If whoever owns it, I'm assuming it's still there. Whoever owns it is sitting on a gold mine.
It's a hotel now. They said.
I'll bet they have some crazy parties there.
It's just a jump to the left.
Party.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
She was also in a movie. Oh wait, we haven't got there yet. Never mind.
All right. So before we get into all the posters and everything, Jeff, I believe it's time to do something else.
Oh boy.
It is.
And this should be saucy.
Yes. Well, one would hope. It is now time for Taglines with Chad.
Okay, taglines for the movie Vampires are as follows, and I'll read the best one first, okay?
Okay.
Fran and Miriam are lesbians. They have a strong passion. It is an unnatural lust for the blood of all men.
Wow, that was the best one.
That could have been the synopsis.
Yeah, that reads like it was written by AI, but this is 1974.
Yes, it does. It does.
You know?
The ultimate lust.
Okay.
I thought it was
Sure.
unnatural.
Yeah.
Is it unnatural? Is it ultimate? Make your mind up.
The ultimately unnatural lust.
Okay. Next one. Most unusual ladies.
Ah,
So unusual.
yeah. You gotta say that in like Peter Lorre's voice. Yeah. Walk up to a woman. If you see some women that you find, just walk up and say that. And get ready for the minty taste of mace.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh wait, how would you know what mace tastes like?
I don't know. I've heard it.
Are you
I
kidding?
know
I'm
people-
sure Bill's tasted it plenty of times.
I ran out of cayenne pepper and I needed to spruce up a chili.
They shared the pleasures of the flesh and the horrors of the grave.
Okay, that's not so bad.
I'm kind of like that one.
I like that better than the first one.
They follow the crimson trail.
Trail.
He said
See how fast I added that in there after we saw that.
Their lips are moist and very, very red.
Okay. Cardinal sin. Do not use the word moist in your tagline.
I hate that word so much.
Moist.
Yeah.
Why do people hate moist so much?
Moist.
I don't know,
It's
man.
just
Moist.
yeah. Even if the
I
name
think
of your movie is called Moist,
Maury
Don't
Povich
use
used
that
to
name.
make me moist when I was a young girl.
We got on that in Classic Era one time. Everybody
Moist.
hated the word moist for some reason.
Moist. Now we've said it like 20 times.
that's
YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, then all the moist videos will follow.
And that's been Taglines with Chad.
Chad's our hero, cool and rad. With him reading taglines, they can't be that bad.
That's what you think, Crystal.
Yay.
I like it that just says enough of this. Let's go on. All right, let's jump into some posters. So there's the ultimate.
Up.
Play
Yep,
the
there
music.
they are.
They won't be able to talk over that.
There's their moist lips right there.
Yep,
There
and
you go.
unusual. No, unnatural. Excuse me, unnatural ladies.
What in the world is that
Well, it's only-
V made out of?
I don't know.
It's two women.
Oh, it
Is it?
is.
Wait.
It's two women. See their hands in the air.
Oh, yeah.
And
with
their
hands
hair,
in the
but they
air.
kind of look like veins from your heart.
It
or
does look
something.
like veins. Oh,
But-
wow. Good
Oh,
call.
look
I
at the
did
black
not-
stuff dripping down on
My
them.
veins don't
Yeah.
have hair and boobs.
Or curvy hips.
Curvy
Well-
hip. Curvy hips or curvy hips?
Curvy.
Curvy.
So this must have been in Britain or something. It's adults only.
Actually, yeah, there was like over 2 minutes cut in England at one point.
Yeah. The director called that the Vatican version. Okay.
Also spelled with the same V.
Ooh, now there's a natural color of red. on
Oh,
the
yeah.
tongues and lips, accentuated by the green letters and border.
Right.
Not an American poster, I'm sure.
Whoever was in charge of the fonts for this movie needs to go into another line of work.
I don't think they were
Yeah,
concentrating
yeah.
on that when they were making it.
I
right?
guess.
Those are bad.
Back then, there weren't that many fonts anyway.
That's true.
This might have been a
You had to
Try
go
for a
off
new
and
one.
draw your own.
That was like the second font invented right there.
second one. All right. And then we have this one, which
It's a double
is
feature. Yeah.
That's what I'd have rather been watching, to tell you the truth.
Devil's Reign. So is this the safe side one? Is this when it was released on the US?
Yeah,
soil?
and they went and got a crap poster for it too. I mean, that's pretty dreadful.
The fonts are better.
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, yeah.
It's their eyes that just look like they're trying to make their eyes look like ghouls or something.
Right.
That work.
And hey, stick a moon in there. How about this big yellow dot? Close enough. Except that's probably the sun because they're always out in the sunlight.
Make the man blue.
I know. I just realized that's what they're laying down there. I did.
What?
Like a Romero corpse.
That's a cool poster. I mean,
I like
hang it-
the sheerness of it.
So not only did he use that hotel clerk to steal from Daughters of Darkness, he actually called this Daughters of Darkness in some countries.
boy,
That's what Lahias.
Well, good for you.
you know the line between
And
homage and
those are
ripoff.
wow. Those are dude. That's
Yeah,
stuff.
That
there,
sure
wow.
is. Not leaving a whole
And
lot
we
to the
got bats
imagination.
in the castle. It's a castle.
I like how the movie over the opening credits we have bats flying, never to be seen again. There are no other.
No,
bats.
you did see him again.
Yeah, you did.
You did. You saw him in the caverns when the girl was down there running away. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. But they don't turn into bats. Don't expect that.
No, but there are.
They don't do anything.
Were they
vampires
real
do
bats?
except
They
bring
were
blood.
real bats, though,
They were
right?
real bats this
Probably.
time.
Yeah. That's
So the
cool.
top one is Spanish. The bottom one is Italian. Obsessione carnale. Carnal obsession.
Carnal obsession. Well, they're selling this more as a
Unlawful
sex
carnal
film than a
knowledge.
vampire movie.
Was it for unlawful carnal?
For
obsession?
unlawful carnal knowledge.
No, I was going with obsession, but that would be fuck you. See what I did there? Moving on. What's this?
Oh, Japan or some other.
Oh, Japan.
You know,
we don't
we've
know.
got
What's
got
the
nudity
610?
and blood. 6.
That guy's death was
Oh, it must be a
shocking,
date.
I have
Yes.
to say.
Oh yeah.
When they walk in and he's laying in the bed and he's just convulsing and he's covered in blood,
Mhm.
and then they attack him. That was just, to me, it was shocking
Okay.
because it went from like just biting on a guy and the other guy and sucking his blood out of his armpit and all whatever they were
We're
doing
just going for it.
to that.
Yeah.
It was just,
And I will say,
Isn't that when they started stabbing him too? Right?
yeah,
yeah.
Mhm.
I will say I like the blood in this movie, which I know is probably a small thing, but when you've been asked many times
Yeah.
to bring blood on the set, and blood's tricky depending
It
on.
wasn't.
What
It
formula
isn't
you
hammer
use.
blood, right?
It's not hammer
it's not-
blood. It's not as gaudy poster paint red, and it flows well. Although I get a feeling like this guy, I like the flow, the way it's dripping. That's what you get when you are working your actors in a set, probably in a castle that has no air conditioning. This guy is sweating like a damn pig. And when you put that blood on, it just definitely starts flowing really well.
So
It's a good
notice
look.
the one on the top, which we're not exactly sure where that's from, but we have a nicely placed little white placket over
Sure
the
do.
girl's breast. And then here's another title, Satan's Daughters.
Satan's daughters.
Warning, contains graphic scenes of nudity and violence.
Violence. Yeah. Well, fair enough.
No, I thought it said violins.
Violence. Trombones.
Oh man.
And yet we have even more. That is an ugly ass.
And we're still not done. The
Vampire
one at the top with the
Yeah, I was convinced this could not have been for this movie because they did make a remake, but no, that's a DVD.
They
cover.
made a remake.
They did make a remake, 2015. That look at that. There's no albino in there, and who is that?
Ooh, there's a tagline we missed. Oh no,
What does it say?
suspense, sexy mayhem, unusually erotic.
That's a
Okay.
blurb, isn't it?
That's a blue.
Yeah.
Variety.
It's
It's
a
not a
blurb.
tagline, it's a blurb, but what the heck?
And then blood hunger.
Which
Who's the vampire in the background there?
Never you mind. Shut up.
Okay.
That's who it is.
the one you will never see.
That's right.
Never
Yes.
This is not the vampire you are looking for. Yeah, we have more.
Dracula, Daughters of Dracula. They follow the Crimson Trail.
Follow the yellow brick road.
I do like the shot of them running through the graveyard, even though it's a failed day
Yeah.
or night shot. But
No,
that's
but
still
they are sporty. Look, they're snappy dressers. and
Snappy.
they're pretty easy on the eyes. I mean, I don't ask for much from my lady vampires, but that's the minimum, and they do have a cool look.
It is a prerequisite for.
Yeah, I've got no objection. I just would like a little explanation. Just
But don't
frickin'
forget,
bone.
this is vampires with a Y, so it's different. from
Well, so there
vampires
you go.
with an
And
Yeah.
and I do like when they play with the mythos, like Captain Kronos, vampire hunter. When you sometimes have vampires that don't drink blood, they drink your life force, and all. So yeah, they don't have to turn into bats. They don't have to have big sprouty fangs. The way
Dracula does not bite ugly people, that's for sure.
yeah,
Well, it wasn't until the 80s until we got ugly vampires, right? Because
yeah.
you look at Vamp when she turned into a vampire, or Fright Night when.
Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
Salem's Lot.
But that was the
That's
male, not the female.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just talking females.
This did kind of remind me of the filmmaker. I don't know if it's pronounced right. Jean Rollins.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I thought it was actually but it isn't.
I've tried watching some of his movies, and even more than this one, there are cool elements, but it is very slow paced. At least the ones I've seen. Maybe I haven't seen the best. He's an artist, and he has great composition and lots of cool things. But he looks like he's making these movies for about $1.25. So there's only so much you can do. But this one, this looked good. I thought the cinematography was absolutely.
You'll probably get letters for saying that about Gene Rollins.
Probably.
Maybe.
Hopefully they'll be in French, so I won't be able to understand.
Le you sucko.
Yeah. But even if they call me terrible things in French, it'll sound pretty nice.
Yeah.
Whereas if the Germans pay you a compliment, you feel like killing yourself because that must have been horrible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Any more countries you want to offend? While we're at it?
Sure.
Keep going. What about the Spanish here?
Listen, I have heard from people from Europe. They say, everyone says the French are rude, but that's only because you haven't gone to Brussels.
It's only because you haven't met Americans.
Oh no, they say worse things about Americans.
Oh, they do. Yeah, worse things than they say about the Germans.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
I wouldn't.
Americans calling each other that.
Yeah.
What I
Well,
liked the way the
hey.
story went. I didn't think it was confusing. I thought, they run out and hitchhike. They hop in the car. They get the guy back to the castle. They ply him with booze, and then they attack him.
Booze.
And then booze and boobs and booze, I guess. So, and then
Otherwise
next
known
day,
as vampire.
then they
blood.
run across the field into the night, and then the next day they're out there hitchhiking again.
Yeah.
They get the next guy. I loved the one guy who I think is the guy they called the Playboy, that he thought he was a real swinger. Probably the ugliest of the ones.
Yeah. Well,
Third guy.
I can't remember what. He had kind of lighter hair and a mustache or something. I don't know. Anyway, he was.
but it wasn't so much that it's confusing, but it's a confusing setup. I mean, yes, we spend an awful lot of time with that young couple, and it's not exciting times, but you figure, okay, we're getting to know them because in the end, something cool is going to happen with them. And no, it didn't.
Never did.
And you're talking about the camper couple, too.
Yeah,
So,
the camper couple.
so we have our two vampires and all the men that they seduce, and then for some reason in nearby or in the property or near the property, there is this couple that decide to camp, and now don't the guy, our lead guy, whose name I'm forgetting right now, but he keeps running to this every once in a while. He like hips him up
Ted.
twice, right? Ted.
That
was his name.
He's a Ted, and so they're there for that reason. But I think Chad, you and I were on the same page. We felt like they were going to be like Van Helsing kind of characters.
Yeah,
sure.
When
Because
that girl came in by herself at the end, I thought, well, she's going to be the one to play the vampires.
You got the impression that they kind of suspected that these women were something different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I was
Well,
I was waiting for the.
It is kind of a dangling plot thread.
There's also this baffling scene where the one vampire touches her on the forehead and says something like, "I always knew we would finally meet.
Yeah.
By this mark, I will know you." And like, what's going to happen here? Is she going to, are they going to fight each other? Is it going to be a 3-way lesbian scene or something? You know, nothing happens. None of those things happen. That whole
something happens,
yeah, but nothing
and
to do with her
probably the
putting a
most
mark on her.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
it's awful.
It's kind of rapey and violent. And
it's
really weird.
It's not a good payoff. I mean, I guess.
I guess.
It felt like they were trying really hard to do a Hammer film, but they just weren't as good at building the suspense like Hammer, and because it was just scenes of sex and blood. It really, I mean, the story's not. It's threadbare, you know.
Yeah, the suspense wasn't there. It was pretty obvious what was going to happen.
And you kind of figured that out.
They were going to titillate you in this movie.
This is one of the
There's a reason why it's Euro trash.
This is one of those movies where this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. Whereas Hammer, to a pretty large degree, is this happens, so then this happens.
That's a difference.
This to happen, and you know, it's a difference between good story structure and dreamlike structure.
Mm-hmm.
Which you know, that's okay. A little of that,
and to be clear, the dreamlike structure applies to vampires, while because you inverted it. I just want to be clear to those listening what you were intending there.
I always
right. I heard that. I heard that recently for the first time, Bill. That quote. That the difference between a good script and a bad script is this happens, then this this happens and this happens is this happens, and because this happens
right,
and which makes this happen, which and then you can break it up and start again, but then you have to tie it together somewhere else.
And I've
seen really
interesting versions. I've seen versions of that quote from different people, but I think one of the best ones I saw was by Edgar Wright.
I don't know if that's one I saw or not.
Yeah, I think he was explaining Hot Fuzz and how when you're watching an Edgar Wright movie, there's some seriously good storytelling going on there.
True.
But this is very, very much a series of events.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like they were setting things up, like the scene Bill described with the sign on her forehead. It's like they were building up to something, but then it was like, we don't have money to do that. We don't have, just forget about it. Have them sleep together again. Have them have more sex or something. That's what it felt like to me. There was a lot of unfinished plot threads that you never saw.
And I mean, this movie was clearly made to be an exploitation film, so it's not like the director was afraid he was going to get notes from the theater distributors like, I think we need more plot. More like, can you stick another sex scene in there? Yes, I can. Mm-hmm. That guy who keeps trying to run away, they catch him again and have sex with him again.
Yep. I mean, I guess that's what you get when you write the script in 5 days, right?
Yeah,
that's pretty much what you're going to get from me if you give me that little time.
Because it feels very rushed.
I mean, a huge part of that script is I mean, there's not a lot of dialogue in this.
No,
right. I mean, there's probably very talented people out there that could do one in 5 days.
Sure,
and I do mean very talented. Because I'm not saying this guy isn't talented. There is an element of talent in the filming of it, the acting of it, the making of this film. The script is probably the one that lacks the most of said talent. But anyway, the house, by the way, I just want to reiterate that it's called the Oakley Court. I don't know if we mentioned that. So
no,
Oakley Court, because somebody out there would be screaming it. Hey, it's Oakley Court. It is.
Everybody knows that.
I did not know it until I read it, but I think it's a great read. And then the actresses were one of them was a Playboy centerfold before this, and the other one was the UK equivalent of it after this. The lead, because the blonde was Anulka, right?
Anulka is the greatest name for an actress if she's going to play a vampire. I mean, that should Countess Anulka. You'd be like, come on, who has a name like that? So, but I prefer the other one. If we're deciding who we're going to get killed by,
the lead.
I've always liked brunettes.
Okay. Well, so Anulka's the blonde. She was in episodes of Falcon Crest The Love Boat,
The Love
Magnum
Boat. Sing it,
TI.
Chad.
Yeah.
Hello, Larry.
Ha!
The
Hello,
New
God.
Avengers.
Hello, Larry.
Oh my God, that was the guy from
McLean
that's the guy-
Stevens.
MASH,
McLean
yeah.
Stevenson,
Yeah,
from MASH.
yeah. Yeah, he quit MASH to go make one season of Hello, Larry. Good choice, man. Good pick.
Hello,
And
Larry.
Listomania.
Oh wow, that's a
So
crazy
this was
name.
her first film credit, and then went on to make Listomania.
Tomorrow, people. She had 12 credits, right? 12 credits.
Yeah, not much.
It's a great shot in the middle.
Yeah, that tunnel was a pretty cool look.
And then we got some more of Anulka here.
There's Anulka. There's her Playboy.
Oh wow, that's a nice cover.
Yep.
If I may say so.
You may.
I mean, there's a lot going on there. I am being, artistically
yeah.
critical.
She was in the Girls of Munich in the August 1972 issue of Playboy.
What do they call that, Chad, when it's like that? When it's not duotone. It's
Sepia.
sepia tone. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Thank you.
Wow, I've been mispronouncing that for 60 years. Okay, good to know.
Well, you could pronounce it any way you like.
Yeah.
I don't care. But Sal,
She's got more clothes on in the Playboy cover
Yeah.
than she does any place in the movie.
It's a really cool shot. I like that.
Yeah.
And then of course we have our brunette lead, who is Marianne Morris.
Mhm.
She seems to have she has 9 credits, but she was in a movie called Corruption.
Is that what Peter
Uncredited.
Cushing?
Yeah.
Fulci or who?
Who? Fulci.
I feel like
what-
maybe that was Freddie Francis or
Yeah, it's a Hammer film too, I think, right?
Oh, okay.
Is it the one-
68. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Peter Cushing.
Elmer
I don't know.
Fudd.
It may not be a Hammer film.
It's not Freddie Francis.
No.
I was thinking of there's one in the late 70s or early 80s Fulci film that I was thinking of, but that ain't it.
Oh, it's a Titan International. It's one of the few copycats.
they didn't laugh.
But she was also in Queen Kong.
Oh, holy God.
And do we need to say anything else? Can we just end the podcast right there? She was in Queen.
Have any of the rest of you suffered through Queen Kong?
Yeah.
I have
Oh
not.
my God, that is so bad.
Just enough to turn it off.
It's beyond bad.
It's got Rula Lenska.
Well, you got to look at the credits though, because Corruption, she played topless girl in the flat.
Uncredited. Yep.
Oh, is that her?
And then in Queen Kong, she's girl on Billboard.
Uncredited.
Oh, wow.
Beast, she is usherette.
Uncredited.
No, she's credited.
She has credited there. The Amorous Milkman is another
Wow.
one. Then she
Uncredited.
plays a hippie girl in another one. Anyway, the Over Amorous Artist is another one.
It's not the size that counts. Is another.
I think I meant
Oh,
the-
wow. I just want to say, listen, I'm not trying to insult my European friends, and I love you guys do some amazing stuff. Euro horror is just terrific, but man, comedy does not translate well, I think, between cultures, because when you try to watch an Italian sex comedy or something, you don't laugh once and you start thinking, I'm never going to have sex again. This movie has just broken me in a fundamental way.
This is the credit for Beasts is a TV miniseries created by Nigel Neal.
Oh,
wow.
well then, okay.
An anthology series concerning bestial horror. Now it says horror. It doesn't say bestiality. It says bestial
Which is what
horror.
Jeff had on his mind, which makes
That's
it a
right.
Freudian slip.
That's why he got the Blu-ray.
I never slipped it.
Well, I thought both of them were fine in this. I'm just kind of surprised they didn't go on to other roles if that's what they wanted.
Yeah, they.
Now,
Both
I
of
have
them
heard.
Yeah, I did too.
I have heard this was not a fun shoot for the people involved.
That's what they say.
Yeah, so
He wasn't a particularly actor-friendly director.
And then we have, if you'll notice at the top picture, you get all three leading ladies, and you have the one in the cap. For those who can't see, there's one that's wearing a cap, and she painted a picture, and they come across her. But that is Sally Faulkner, right?
Yes, Sally Faulkner, who
Right.
is in a movie that we will one day do, because if I have to pick it myself, Prey. And all I can say about Prey, it is an odd little sci-fi horror gore film that is basically, if you took D.H. Lawrence's The Fox and decided, you know what this movie needs more? Cannibalistic aliens. That's what D.H. Lawrence would have put in there if he'd only thought of it. And yeah, you go from there, and it's just, wow, she's good in that. I like her. You know, she's not as beautiful as the other two, but she's likable, and you're on her side. And then they do her dirty in this movie.
Yeah,
you know?
I do.
They force her into a nude scene that's very rapey, and you know, she comes to a bad sudden end. And she's a good actress, so when she's screaming, you really feel it. It's unpleasant for a character that we've come to know, and to a certain degree, as much as anyone else in the film, actually like.
Yeah, I would say that scene is the only one that affected me on a, you know, from a horror or violent perspective. The rest of it I thought was all kind of, it's there, it's interesting, but it's flat.
Yeah.
That one had some punch. That one had punch. I mean, I know you guys talked about the one blind guy that died, and I agree with you, but I think this is the only one that had the punch to it.
well, it's because you cared about these two.
Mm-hmm.
By the time they were getting killed, they had built them up to be where you thought they were going to have something to do with the ending, where they were the heroes or whatever, and then both of them are kaput by the end.
Indeed.
They both seemed pretty nice, and they were sort of a balanced couple too. There wasn't
right. It wasn't like Daughters of Darkness, where the normal couple is actually more screwed up than the vampires are. And you know, I don't know. I haven't heard the interview with the director or read anything, and maybe he's going to use that, what to me is just the most tired old trope of, I was subverting audience expectations, which every time they say that, I just want to slap them. Shut up. Listen, let me tell you my expectation as an audience. I want to be entertained. I want to feel like I devoted 2 hours to something and I'm better for it or whatever. It's easy to subvert expectations. Just take the rules of storytelling and screw them up. Just do the exact opposite. No one will see that coming, because we all expected we were going to enjoy this movie, and instead we hate it. Well, good for you. You subverted our expectations.
So
way to go.
We're looking at you, Star Wars.
She was.
Look,
Apparently, she was a.
You're afraid to laugh at that.
Apparently, she was a Shakespearean stage actress, and she did 7 episodes of Doctor Who in 1968. And I saw some other stuff on here that would
back
fit
when the
into
special effects were basically, here's a box with a toilet plunger. He's an alien.
Body stealers.
So, Prey, Bird of Prey. That was an episode in a TV series. But I saw something else farther up. The Return of Sherlock Holmes, 1 episode. Oh, She-Wolf of London.
Oh.
A TV series that she was in 2 episodes of it.
Oh, yeah. I vaguely remember that.
1990s. Wow. Okay.
Creators Mick Garris and Tom McLaughlin.
Wow.
Those are good. I don't remember it being particularly great, but I might be wrong. I remember seeing it on TV.
21 episodes.
So I love the title of our next tags, which is Victims. And
so they are.
So this is the blonde guy. Who's the one at the top?
I think I may have accidentally stuck in a shot from the remake.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't remember seeing that either.
There you go, a little. What do they call it?
A little preview.
I meant to do that.
Cross pollination.
Yeah,
cross pollination.
But yeah, I like the blood. I'd be interested to know what formula they used. If you were trying to do that effect now, you would go get. There's a brand of blood. I don't know if they're still selling it, called Tinsley. It's really expensive, but it's also really good. It's really good blood.
I mean, he does. I mean, look at that picture at the bottom. I mean, he does a good job of making it look like he's being slaughtered.
Mm-hmm.
And these, of all the vampires out there, these two ladies are the ones that more than just about any other really feel like they're eating this guy. You know, like this is most vampires. They bite you on the neck. They'd have to stand there for 10 hours sipping little drops of blood out. You can't get much. You always figure it's more of a mystical or supernatural thing. They just need a little tiny blood, and that will sustain them. But these two, no, these two are good to the last drop. They're trying to get every bit of nourishment they can out of this.
Nourishment, he says.
It's creepy.
And then we have the rest of the
More
crew.
victims. Yeah.
More victims. That's the guy I was thinking of. I guess he
Playboy.
doesn't have a mustache. It just
Is that Michael Byrne? Michael Byrne.
Pinstripe double-breasted suit.
Yeah. Brian Deacon was the other guy on the other page, and then Murray Brown is
Maybe I had that wrong. I thought Brian Deacon was her boyfriend in the caravan.
Oh, yes, you are right. I'm sorry. I'm wrong.
Now, one of these guys, and I'm thinking it's the older gentleman on the bottom, was in one of the Indiana Jones movies. He was the Nazi who was like in the tank, and the tank goes over them, and we just see his face.
Scene.
Yeah.
So there's one that was called the Playboy was Michael Byrne, and I think that might be. Is that what you said? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's the guy in the middle and the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Not a pretty one in the bunch.
Nope.
Pretty wasn't a prerequisite. It didn't have to be pretty. Just had to be full of blood. I mean, okay. How is this particular method sustainable? Like, what is the span of time? Are they doing this like every night, or is it once a week? Or is there a span of time?
Well, it kind of looked like it. Otherwise, those guys in the caravan were camped out there for
right. They should have left by now. How long is you going to paint something? Yeah, it seems like it does seem pretty illogical that you could have this many people, you know. But
maybe they like, okay, it's our feed week, and then they hibernate for a couple of years. I don't know.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, maybe this is the 200th anniversary of their death.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, they didn't have any elaborate place to hide. They just ran into this crypt and curled up in a corner.
Right.
Seemed to work. The one girl didn't see her.
When they were in the crypt, was it just me? It looked like there was a dead body.
Yes.
Against the wall.
Yeah.
There was a couple of skeletons in another room, and our Sally Faulkner didn't even see them. She was looking the other way.
Yeah, the way she backed out of the room, she didn't see it.
I did like that scene. I like all the stuff that happened in the basement. Even when the guy got locked in there because he shuts the door and the handle flies off, and he's like trying to fingering at the door trying to get it to open up, and he's like.
Now, in fairness, Chad, there's a couple of skeletons behind you, and you're not reacting to them. So,
same ones from last week.
There's a couple in your closet right behind you there, Bill.
Yep. Many.
Whoa. Why? Good. Why?
Himself.
I just like the
it's so funny.
The gorilla in the movie we did earlier.
Yes.
So he did play Jonathan Harker, our guy at the top, in a TV movie called Dracula.
Oh,
from '74. So which one was that? It was the one with Jack Palance and Dan Curtis, and he played Jonathan Harker. Yeah.
Oh wow,
we covered that.
Missed up.
Yeah.
Well, this guy has got to stop going to castings.
He's got 169 credits. So yeah, he's. What is that? Blood, the Last Vampire.
Cool.
That's an anime.
I only see 13, so I must be looking at the wrong thing.
I thought Blood was an anime.
Yeah, maybe he's a voice.
Who are you looking?
Murray Brown. I was looking at Murray Brown, the guy at the very top.
Murray Brown was a black-haired guy.
He was the guy that they cut the arm. They cut his arm and kept him around.
He was Ted, but I don't.
Ted.
Is that
Ted.
him there? Okay.
Right. I only see 13.
I thought the guy on the top is the same guy in the other two pictures. I thought.
Is it?
Yeah, he's got a tan vest on.
Oh, okay.
Don't ask me.
I thought he was the other guy. Where do we not have a picture of our other guy? I guess we don't.
Look at the other. victims. What's it?
Well, Diana did. It's
No,
just,
that's
just the blank. Yeah. So I thought it was just by process of elimination. Sorry, but yeah, it is. It's the same guy. This is all three of the same guy. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Murray Brown. Yeah, you're right. 13 things.
So you're talking about Michael Byrne.
Yes.
Michael Byrne has 169 credits.
So this guy was Jonathan Harker. That's crazy.
Yeah. Typecasting.
Although I don't think he had a very big part. It was Nigel Davenport was what I remember as being the bigger.
Well, yeah, they depends on what they did with. I didn't see the movie, so I don't know if they kept him around.
Yeah, I mean, look what Horror of Dracula did to that character.
Oh me, well that's our picks.
Oh, yeah, Nigel Davenport was Van Helsing. Sorry.
So, what else do we say about this movie?
It's
If
got a
you
pretty
like
good
movies,
reputation. If you
I
like movies,
highly recommend it.
and who doesn't?
I'm glad your tongue is in your cheek on that.
Joe Bob's drive-in totals, 6 breaths.
Yeah,
6 breaths. Ah!
yeah.
If you would have said 7, I would have died. I mean, I guess it could happen, but
7.5 breasts,
Lots of blood.
3
What,
thighs, and 2 chicken
at least
wings.
1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 or 6
chicken
deaths.
legs,
And elbows suck.
couple beaks, and a random toenail.
I don't know. I'm glad we watched it, and I see why we did Daughters of Darkness first. A much better movie.
Yeah. I mean,
because we have Delphine.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I would if I were watching this again, I'd probably watch it as a double feature with that. That could be interesting, but this is a little bit of a snore fest.
Yeah, I'm done with this one.
I wasn't snoring. I mean, I enjoyed it because of visually. I thought it was really visually appealing, but I didn't come out right either. But anyway, you know what I mean.
Yeah, if I wasn't watching, if I wasn't watching it for this podcast, I probably would have turned it off.
Or hit the remote. Hit the fast forward button.
No, yeah. If I did watch it, it would have been entirely like, okay, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, get like a little shot every 30 seconds. Not that I haven't done that with other movies to get through them, but
and remember,
all right,
their lips are moist and very, very red.
Yeah,
very
where's the Bigfoot? Where's the Bigfoot? Where's the Bigfoot? 30 seconds, 30 seconds. What?
He's got pants on.
All right.
So I guess where we're leading to with that, Jeff, is we want to hear what you think of this. We also want you to, if you've spent this much time with us, 1, we want to thank you. 2, we have a request. Hit the like, subscribe, share with a friend buttons. Each of those will help us find more horror fans just like you. And help us grow. Grow.
Yeah, baby.
Grow. Do we have, sir, feedback?
We got us some feedback. We
All right.
do have us some feedback. So up first, episode 221, Colossus, the Foreman Project. Chad, do you want to take that from our buddy Andy L?
Sure. Andy says, a real blast from the past for me. I do remember seeing the movie when it came out and general details about it, but haven't seen it since. I do remember liking the movie and then getting The Fall of Colossus in Book Club hardcover edition from the Science Fiction Book Club back in the mid-'70s.
Ah, cool.
I was in there too, Andy.
Book Club.
Yep.
Back when the books were $1.49 or $1.99 from them. Yep. Probably worth something for collectors if I still had today, although a number of book club volumes tended to get rather yellow in the pages after a few years. That's because of the crappy paper they use.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have a great collection of books going back to 10-cent pulp paperbacks of first edition Murray Leinster from a century ago. Wow. Ace doubles, etc. But many were damaged in storage when they were left with family when I went off to college, although I still have some boxed up in my basement. I used to troll used bookstores in Manhattan as well as being a book club member back in the early 70s. It was fun to find out of print books by authors I liked, and New York City was a great place back in the day for that, like being an explorer on a quest. Thanks,
I
Andy.
know
Very much.
exactly what he's talking about, and that one you're
Heck
absolutely
yeah.
right. Yep.
Very much.
I read a bunch of stuff out of Science Fiction Book Club is how I read the Dune series, how I read Thomas Covenant, The Unbeliever, bunch of other ones like that. A lot of best of short story collections and stuff.
When I lived in Florida, there was a mom and pop used bookstore on every corner.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would take a whole day and just go through everything they had and built my whole Doc Savage paperback
nice.
collection.
Oh, yeah.
On that. So yeah, I know what that means. I know how that feels.
Well, I don't think there's enough people who read these days to keep something like that going. It's too bad.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank you, Chadster. Next up, we have from episode 222, Nightwing from Lone Wolf. Bill.
Oh, Werewolves of London. Lone Wolf
Lone Wolves of London.
of Nightwing. Easily one of my favorite decades of horror episodes. As soon as I heard of David Warner's passing, I had to request this one. I watched Nightwing for the first time on Tubi and absolutely loved it. This is going to sound strange, but when I watched the scene of Duran driving down a dirt road listening to some smooth country music, it really made me sad that I wasn't born in the 70s. That small scene really put me into the era, and it felt great. Stephen Macht was that villain you respected and made you wonder who the real monster was.
Mm-hmm.
David Warner had this odd Dr. Loomis Quint persona that made him the most interesting character in the film. My introduction to Warner was in the 90s with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 and an episode of Tales from the Crypt as a child psychologist. Catherine Harold was a trooper and held her own against the Bats. Struther Martin, who I shall nickname the Struther, is always a welcome addition. Yeah. The bats are pretty effective, although the burning ones look silly. The hallucination scene with Catherine yelling at Duran was kind of funny, but the scene that cracks me up is when Duran chases after Abner's spirit and at one point tries to swing at him when he gets close enough. LOL. Nightwing is a solid Jaws clone that unfortunately flapped its wings under the shadow of Alien.
Very much so.
And by the way, Nightwing is my favorite DC Comics superhero.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
There you go.
Excellent, Lone Wolf.
Little Dick Grayson going on there. That sounds good.
Mhm.
Very good comment. And then it might be surprising, or maybe it's not. We have several comments on episode 223, Craze. First one is from the Mad Asgardian. Doc, you want to take that one?
I love how you pronounced that. Oh, I almost said pronunciated.
Did you say it right? Mad Asgardian?
No, you did. It's just where you put the accent on the A. Anyway,
Asgardian.
Mad Asgardian says, thanks for the recommendation. Tubi is such a great resource for obscure horror movies. Side note, check out The Psychotronic Man. There was a question on the podcast as to how people might have come to know Jack Palance. For me, it was definitely the Ripley's Believe It or Not TV series in the early mid-80s. Yes. Which often gave me an opportunity to showcase his more sinister side. Yes. Keep up the good work. P.S. Vinegar Syndrome just announced a new 3-film British horror set, and Craze is on there.
Whoa.
Thanks a lot, Mad Asgardian. I ordered it. You cost me money. I guess you didn't cost me money. I ordered it. And I appreciated the information. There we go.
There you
are. Also from Eleanor C., our Eastern Europe representative. Chad, I think we're back around to you.
Okay. Eleanor, mwah, mwah, mwah. Good to hear from you. She says, okay, I listened to you and watched this movie. It isn't good, but it has some funny parts, and I even jumped in my seat when Jack Palance jumped out of the closet with a mask to scare the old lady. But I still like Mumsy, Nanny, Sonny, and Germ.
Had to make it say that, didn't I?
You see how I arranged that so that you'd read that one?
Yeah, boy.
I quit.
I love you, Eleanor. So
now that's the thing. Is she just jagging with me, or is She really does like that movie.
I think she does.
Tell us if tell us if you're just joking with me, Eleanor.
Embrace the power of and.
It's in that weird subgenre of British knitting horror.
Yeah.
It's in that special subgenre of shitty horror movie.
No.
Oh,
All right. And then from Jose about Craze, Bill?
Jose says, "Hey, sounds like one I'm glad I missed. And oh my, without warning would be loads of fun. I have the out of print Shout Blu-ray, although there is a more recent release now. So many good character actors and great weird gore. Long live boomerang blood-sucking discs.
Yes.
I've never been able to warm up to Torture Garden. Killer, lumbering pianos, androids. It's a weird and heady mix and just doesn't work for me."
Boy, Jose spanned the decades of horror episodes because we actually are going to be doing Without Warning on 80s, right?
Oh, nice.
1980 movie, I think.
Yeah.
And we will, of course, be doing Torture Garden at some point on Classic Era.
We got to get all those portmanteaus done.
And lastly, on Craze from Robert Baker. Doc?
Me? All right. Robert Baker says, "I just recently saw this for the first time. A so-so movie, but definitely worth checking out for at least once for Jack Palance. I agree that he's just one of those people you just know whether you remember seeing anything of his work or not. My most vivid memory of him was from when I was a kid. He was the host of Ripley's Believe It or Not, which we all totally forgot.
Oh, yeah.
And then later in the 80s, he was the villain in the first Young Guns. Saw his other stuff later. We just don't have actors like this anymore, which is totally true.
Believe it or not.
Yes, believe it or not.
No, I believe Jack is a one of a kind of all ages.
Yeah. I love the fact that people are sharing, how they remember people, because that a lot of time that trips me up when I see these faces. Like, oh, I knew who we were, but I can't tell you why.
All right. And lastly, episode 224, Moon of the Wolf from Jerry Chandler. And
why don't you do that, Jeff?
Oh, Jerry Chandler says, "I watched the whole movie. At no point in it did a wolf moon anyone."
So
or did they?
You weren't paying attention, were you?
That's
You didn't see Chad when he was talking about brunch.
Yeah. I'm guessing that Jerry must have been defusing a bomb or something, because that's the briefest message we've ever gotten from him.
I know. Well,
he's on his way to work.
So that's it for feedback. Everybody, we love comments and stuff like that. When do you? I don't know what to ask you about Vampires. Any other? Are there any other José Ramón Larraz movies that we should see?
I don't think so.
I think we've seen enough, Jose.
So anyway, thanks to everybody that commented: Jerry, Robert, Jose, Eleanor, Mad. Can I call you by your first name? Lone Wolf, and Andy. Appreciate it, all of you. Keep that feedback coming. You can make comments on the Gruesome Magazine YouTube channel, or you can send emails to feedback@gruesomemagazine.com, or make comments in the Gruesome Magazine H&R and DOH podcast Facebook group. There you go.
José Ramón Larraz also did a movie in 1973 called The House That Vanished, which a young model and her pretty thief boyfriend, petty, not pretty, petty thief
I was going to say
boyfriend, find their way through the English fog into backwood manors in hopes of looting it. Instead, they find murder. It's also called Scream and Die.
Fog.
Also, Jose Feliciano sang the theme song.
Yes.
Yes. Did I say his name wrong? Did I say it?
No.
Well,
Chad's just going off.
Yeah.
But also, before we get into what our next movie is, I want to just remind people that we are also covering for the 70s on Patreon only. It's a patron exclusive. We are doing each and every episode, all 20 episodes of Kolchak the Night Stalker. every 2 weeks.
That's right.
We are halfway through the series at this moment ish, and it's been a fantastic ride, and there's more fun to be had as we go through the second half of the series. Fun times. Check it out on our Patreon site, I guess. But should I go ahead and share what we are doing next, Jeff?
Yeah, this one is your pick. So yeah,
so
reveal away.
We are going to finally do, I've mentioned this a handful of times or more. It's from the early 70s. It was actually a failed 3D film. It wanted to be a 3D film. It was not released in 3D. It stars Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, but it's not from Hammer. It's from Amicus, which is a few. And there's a few other ones that are not even from Amicus that they did, but it's called I, Monster. And it is a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
So
the letter I.
The letter I, not the EY.
Not an I monster, an I, comma, monster.
Because then I monster, therefore I kill, or something like that.
It's a philosophical
and I have not seen this
movie.
So
You
this
have
will
not
be a
seen
first. No, it's
excellent.
always been meaning to see it.
This will be another one of those. When I saw it when I was a kid, I can't wait to share the story. So it'll be fun, and I'm looking forward. I haven't seen it since then, and looking forward to seeing it.
Excellent.
It's playing on it's playing on the Play Now Media stuff. So
yes, it's on Classic Horror Movie Channel and Wicked Horror TV.
Yeah, and at the moment, that's the only place you can find it that I could find.
Yeah. Yep.
And can you see it for free, Jeff, or do you have to subscribe for those? You just have to pair up with commercials if you're doing it for free.
Yes.
Okay. The quality is not top notch, but I don't think it ever was.
This is a hard movie to find.
Yeah, the not the quality of the film, but the quality of
the print.
The print. Yes, I was going to say film again, but yes, the print is not that great, but I don't think it ever has been. So
yeah, haven't we wanted to do this for?
Yes,
and
we brought it up a bunch. So, and in fact, even let me check real quick. I don't know if anybody requested it. Nope.
No, this is just me. This is me.
Yeah.
There's a handful of films that we want to do that we can't get. The Snake movie, 7S is one that is hard to watch. It's interesting though that you can get it on. You can catch it every once in a while streaming on Amazon Prime's live channel of Universal Monsters. It'll just show up. But you can't watch it anytime you want anywhere. You have to wait for it to appear. And if we could time it and tell everybody, all right, it's on tonight, go watch it. We could do it.
I haven't seen that since it aired on TV.
I got the
it used to be on a lot.
I reviewed it for horrornews.net when the Blu-ray came out from. I think it came from Shout Factory. So
I've been wanting to do Excalibur forever, but it's never playing.
No,
Strother Martin.
Yeah.
Strother Martin's in Excalibur?
Yeah, he's got a British accent.
You have to pull the sword out of the rock.
The Strother.
So I Monster is playing, but it's not in 3D.
No, it never got released in 3D.
Oh, that's disappointing.
They filmed it that way, but then never released it that way.
Didn't it play on Dr. Tongue's 3D House of Horrors?
That's right.
Did it? I don't know. But it is in that, the 70s. Remember, well, we'll get to this in the next one, but there was a stretch in the 70s where they tried to revive it because remember the werewolf film that we saw was in 3D.
Was that the local guy from
Paul? The Paul Lashley,
Rottweiler, and
that too.
No.
I know. I'm talking about the Paul Lashley film,
Frankenstein's Bloody Terror. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, the werewolf movie, Frankenstein's Bloody Terror. It's got werewolves. It's got vampires. You know what it doesn't have? Frankenstein.
No, doesn't have to.
3D makes.
We'll talk more. We'll talk more about that in a couple of weeks. The reason to.
Okay, I'll shut up.
Sorry, Chad. Go ahead, Chad. Go ahead.
No, go on. I'm
gonna save it. I'm gonna sulk for 2 weeks.
Well, we almost ended on time for a change, but
yeah, almost.
And I just rattle on. Let's go ahead and get out of here. All right, Jeff, Chad, Bill, thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
It was
you.
fun.
All right, let's say goodnight.
Good
Good
night,
night.
everybody.
Gruesome Magazine.